On in Bojo, Mr. McLeod Mondayamina, Mr. McLeod here again, and today is going to be a continuation of our last lesson on phonology and orthography. So this is Nishnaabemwin Phonology and Orthography Part 2. So we're mostly focusing on phonology today, not too much on orthography. We'll refresh that, but for the most part, we're just focusing on phonology. So if you don't remember, Nishnaabemwin phonology is our Ojibwe sound system, so the sounds that make up our language, and orthography is our writing system, how we spell and write things down. And so many communities have different ways of spelling things, but we are going to use probably the more popular writing system, and we'll go over what that is. So Nishnaabemwin phonology and orthography. So today's second lesson is a continuation of our understanding of Nishnaabemwin's phonology and orthography, again mostly focusing on Nipissing dialect. So phonology is the sounds of a language or system sounds that make up that language, whereas orthography is a written system. So the orthography we use for this lesson, again, is called the Fierro system. It's probably the most prevalent writing system among Ojibwe people. We have some slight differences with ours in terms of diphthong vowel sounds probably. Other dialects or written systems, orthographies, use different ways to spell their nasal sounds, etc. But it's more commonly referred to as the double vowel system because of the use of consecutive vowel sounds to express long vowel sounds. And so we went over what long vowel sounds are in our last lesson. Also, too, you might notice some reoccurring topics that we cover in today's lesson. This is just to help reinforce some important aspects of Ojibwe phonology that are going to be affecting how we pronounce things down the road when we start getting into morphology and adding prefixes and suffixes. So just things to kind of reinforce in our minds in relation to the prepping for what's to come in this course. So Nishnaabemwin Orthography, how to write in Ojibwe in this class. So our writing system for this class is easier to spell compared to English. We're going to go over some reasons why, but they are the same as last time. So we have no silent letters. Everything that's written is pronounced. So again, no silent letters. We don't have any E's at the end of words that you don't pronounce. We don't have any P's at the beginning of words like pneumonia that are silent. Just whatever you see written is pronounced. We only have one sound per spelling. So every time you see an E sound, it's going to be spelled I. You won't see it in English spelled with a EE or an EA or whatever, however else it's spelled in English. In Ojibwe, there's just one spelling per sound. So using our system, there's no reason you should misspell any words or new words because the spelling is based on how the whole words are pronounced, and we don't have silent letters. So if something sounds the same, it's spelt the same with our sound system, and you should at this point have access to our sound chart with everything clearly explained for you there. So our writing system has the same pronunciations for consonant sounds as in English. So in the sound chart I gave you at the top in blue is how the consonant sound is written, and in black underline is an English equivalent of that spelling. So for example, this B is blue. It's pronounced like in the word bed, b. And so same thing with our vowel sounds, except the Y. The vowel sounds are in yellow, and so in the sound chart I gave you, at the top in yellow is how the vowel sound is written, and the black underlined is the English equivalent. So we have a double A here. That's how it's written, and it's pronounced ah, like in the word awesome. So same thing goes for the other sounds there. I tried my best to produce English equivalents for everything, but couldn't do it because Some of Ojibwe phonology does not occur in the English, and vice versa. So problem sound, I'm tired of learners mispronouncing. Again, just to reinforce, the prefix gii is not pronounced g like the word gene. So how do we pronounce the prefix gii? So we have to break this down from based on its consonant and vowel sound. So we have a G sound followed by a double I, which has its own sound. So G has the same pronunciation as the G sound in English word get. So G is the first part, G, not J, G, G. And the double I has the same pronunciation as a long E sound in English word feet or beat. So we're looking for that E sound. So G-E, G-E, Gee. So therefore, G-I-I is pronounced like the English word geek without that K sound. So gee. So that's how we pronounce G-I-I. So moving on to phonology, now that we've finished re-going over our orthography. So in our Nishnaabemwin phonology, we're going to mainly focus on vowel sounds in relation to syncopation today. We will re-go over our consonant stuff here, but very briefly. Last lesson was heavily focused on consonants. This one's going to be more on our vowel sounds, and we're going to be learning about syncopation today. So consonant sounds are sounds we make with a closed mouth and or teeth while exhaling air, and are sometimes on either end of our vowel sounds. So sometimes they be in the front, sometimes they can be on the back, sometimes they can be on both sides, like in the word top. So t, with a slightly closed mouth, t sound, and then a p sound starts with your mouth closed and puffing out air. P. So top. And those are on either side of the syllable, top. So vowel sounds are formed with an open mouth while exhaling air and make up the middle section of our vowel sounds, like the word ah. So our mouth is more open to pronounce that ah sound in between the t and the p sound. So Nishnaabemwin vowel sounds. So in this class, we divide up our vowel sounds into 3 categories: short, long, and diphthong. So we're re-going over this because with today's topic, syncopation, we need to know the difference between the 3 and which one affects syncopation, or which one is affected by syncopation, actually. So short vowel sounds are spelt with single letters, A, I, and O, single A, single I, and single O. They are pronounced as such. Single A is pronounced like in the word about. Single I is pronounced I, as in pit. And single O is pronounced as in book. Long vowel sounds are mostly spelt with 2 consecutive vowel sounds. So we have double A pronounced aw, like in awesome. 2 I is pronounced E, like in easy. Double O is pronounced O, as in oh no. And a single E is a long vowel sound, and it's pronounced as in bed, Diphthong vowel sounds are our vowel sounds that end with our not accelerant but other consonant sounds. So those are W and Y. Like AY is pronounced A, like bay. AAW or AW is pronounced ow, like when you stub your toe, ouch. EW is pronounced L. I don't have an English equivalent for that one. IY is pronounced I, as in I, captain. And IIW is similar to L, but it's more ew, like something's really gross. Ew, ever sick. So now going over why we need to know the difference in our vowel sounds. So Nipissing Nishnaabemwin dialect uses syncopation when pronouncing words, sentences, phrases, etc. Syncopation is the act of stressing or de-stressing sounds that are practiced in English as well as Ojibwe. So in the examples for English include camera, chocolate, aspirin, restaurant. So in these examples, we have extra vowel sounds that are highlighted with brackets, and this is to show that we de-stress them or omit them from our speech. So we don't pronounce this camera, we pronounce it camera. Again, chocolate, we pronounce it chocolate. We don't pronounce it, I think I may have heard some people pronounce it aspirin, but it's more of aspirin. And the last one, restaurant, not restaurant. And so, moving on from here, many Eastern dialects of Ojibwe apply syncopation when speaking. As a rough kind of idea, I kind of picture syncopation happening anything east of Thunder Bay in terms of Ojibwe country. So related to Ojibwe, syncopation is often referred to as vowel dropping, but it also, not a lot of people talk about this, but it brings back vowel sounds that are normally not heard or de-stressed. Later in this course, we will cover what that looks like and how that happens. So the only sounds that are dropped or de-stressed and brought back or stressed are short vowel sounds, single A, single I, and single O. So these are the three sounds that we're going to drop from our speech and also bring back in our speech. So we never de-stress long vowel sounds or diphthong vowel sounds, only the short vowel sounds, and then our consonant sounds as well are pretty much always pronounced. So we just have to worry about these three sounds here, single A, single I, and single O. So that's why it's important to know the difference in our vowel sounds, because with syncopation, it's something that native speakers practice involuntarily. And so when you don't practice that, they won't understand you and you won't understand them. It's just best to try and match them as best as you can. And I try to illustrate with that with my lessons as best as I can teach you guys. So what does de-stressing our short vowels look like? So we have two rules for de-stressing our vowel sounds, and they apply when we add suffixes. This is one example. So when we apply suffixes to our words, we have our third last consonant rule and our second last consonant rule. So we apply our third last consonant rule when we attach a suffix that ends in a consonant sound, like an, so it ends in a consonant sound. And we apply our second last consonant rule when we attach a suffix that ends in a vowel sound, so like da. So ah is the vowel sound, and that's what it ends with. So when we add a suffix that ends with like a consonant sound, we count back 3 consonant sounds to our third one. When we attach a suffix that ends in a vowel sound, we count back to our second last consonant. So we've got this consonant here and then whatever comes after it. So think of de-stressing our short vowel sounds like in Avengers Infinity War when Thanos snapped his fingers and got rid of half the universe. We're not getting rid of half the universe, we're just getting rid of single A, single I, and single O in particular situations. So Thanos snapped his fingers and then the short vowel sounds just disappear. Nishnaabemwin learners hate this, but it's a natural kind of thing that we have to deal with as language learners. So what does our third last consonant rule look like? So we're going to take our example here, mzina teshjagun. We're going to attach the suffix an. Now we're going to count back to our third last consonant. So N is our last one. Second last one is another N sound. And our third last one is a G sound. So when we look at our third last consonant, we look for two things. So we look on either side. If there's a vowel sound preceding it, and then if, more importantly, if there's a short vowel sound following it. So if there's a short vowel sound after our third last consonant, we get rid of that. We Thanos snap that and get rid of it, and then bring in the rest of the word together. So we go from Mzinatesh Chigun to Mzinatesh Chigunan, and then we get rid of that A sound like that. And then we bring in the rest of the word to get Mzinatesh Chignan. So that's an example of syncopation happening. This is our third last consonant rule. Now we're going to go over our second last consonant rule. So we have the word nime, and then once we add the suffix da to it, we're going to count back to our second last consonant. So a is a vowel sound, but d is a consonant. I is a vowel, m is a consonant, as indicated on our sound chart. So our last one is that D sound, and then the second last one is that M sound. All right, so similarly to the third last consonant, we're going to look on either side of that second last consonant. So if we have a vowel sound in front and a short one after, we get rid of the short vowel. So double I is a vowel sound. Doesn't matter if this is long or short. What matters is this is a short one, and it is. Two I's is a long, one I is short. So we Thanos snap that, get rid of it, and bring in the rest of the word. So instead of saying Nimeda in Nipissing Nishnaabemwin, we would say Nimda. Nimda. And we'll go over what those words mean in later lessons. All right, so what does stressing our short vowel sounds look like? So if Thanos snapping is getting rid of short vowel sounds, what do you think is stressing our short vowel sounds? So in a later lesson, we'll learn when to bring back our de-stress short vowel sounds. But until then, think of it like an Avengers Endgame when the Hulk brings everyone back with his Thanos snap. So here, Nishnaabemwin learners are applying syncopation, and we're bringing back our short vowel sounds A, I, and O. So what about our consonant fusions in relation to syncopation? So this is an important thing to talk about here. So for our consonant fusions, instead of treating them as two separate consonant sounds, we teach them as one fused together consonant sound. If a short vowel sound is droppable between a consonant fusion and the consonant sound needed to form their consonant cluster, we drop the weak vowel sound. So, for example, a consonant cluster is our consonant fusion. One example is ND, and then its cluster version has a W. So, for example, we have Bisindawa. This is how some dialects might say it, Bisindawa. But the consonant cluster version, we get rid of that short vowel sound A and bring it all together. Bsindwa. Bsindwa. So we're going to go over our third last consonant rule with our consonant fusions to form consonant clusters. So we got zustum. So we're adding the suffix ug. And we'll go over what these suffixes mean later on. Don't worry. We're just using them as examples so that you guys can get familiar with vowel dropping and our phonology and all that. So last consonant is a G sound. So we need to count back. So our second last one is an M sound. And our third last one is this fused ST sound. And so we look at either side of those, and we look for a vowel sound in front, short one afterwards. So that's what happens here. And also too, in our sound chart, ST is a fusion, but STM is a consonant cluster. So when we get rid of that A, we're able to get rid of that A in order to make a consonant cluster. So if you can't make a cluster, we don't get rid of it, but since we can, we will. So Thanos snap that, get rid of it, and bring it all together. So we get Zost Mog as our final product, and we'll go over what it means in a later lesson. Now we're going over our second last consonant rule, what it looks like. So we have Wiskoe, and so with this one, this is already has a suffix added to it and has an I sound. This is like an old command that some Ojibwe dialects stopped producing. Nipissing still maintains it. So we're going to count back to our second last consonant rule now. Just think of this I as the suffix we added. So the last one is this W sound here. And the second last one is our fused SK sound. So again, we're going to look on either side of this fused consonant. So we look for a vowel sound in front and a short one after. So again, double I is an example of a vowel sound. It's long in this example. And then A, single A, is a short vowel sound. So we got to get rid of that A. So instead of saying Wiskoe, we would pronounce it Wiskwe. So SKW is a fusion that, or a consonant cluster that we can pronounce in our sound chart. And again, we'll go over what that means in a later lesson. So so thanks again. Thanks you all for listening to me today. That's it for now. And then we're going to go over our worksheet today. So again, you might notice some things that are common. And so these are just things I want to reinforce with our two lessons on phonology and orthography. So what does phonology mean? We went over this in both lessons. What is the original name of the orthography we use in Ojibwe class? We went over that. And what is it more commonly referred to as now? Again, if you can't remember, go back to the lesson and take down those notes. What is the definition of vowel sounds according to our lesson? So we went over how we define vowels, how our mouth is structured, and when they appear in syllables. And same thing for consonant sounds. Again, we covered it. How's our mouth organized to produce them, and then when do they appear in consonant sounds? So again, here I want you to match the consonant sounds to their proper labels. Hopefully by the time you see this, I'll get rid of some of these terminologies. Idler, igniter, and accelerant. They're not applicable anymore. So what are our two nasal consonant sounds? What are our four sibilant consonant sounds? Which ones are strong and which ones are weak? What are 8 stops and affricative consonants, and which are strong and weak as well? And what are the 2 other consonant sounds? Why is it important to understand the difference between a long and short vowel sound? We went over this. And then we also explained what syncopation was in the lesson. So if you don't remember those, for these questions 7 to 9, you might want to go to yesterday's lesson or your sound chart to answer these. These ones here, 10 and 11, were answered in both yesterday's class and today's class. So list our short vowel sounds and long vowel sounds. So in your own words, what is our third last consonant rule, and what type of suffix do we apply to our third last consonant? Is it something that ends with a vowel sound or something that ends with a consonant sound? Question 14, what is our second last consonant rule? What type of suffix do we apply to our second, not third, to our second last consonant too? So again, are they suffixes that end in a consonant sound or a vowel sound? Go back into the lesson if you forget. So rewrite the words with their indicated suffixes and syncopate or vowel drop the words according to our third last and second last consonant rules. So for example, here we have neem plus da. So this one ends in a vowel sound, so we apply our second last consonant rule. So D is the last one, M is the second last. We have a vowel sound in front, short vowel afterwards. We get rid of that short vowel sound. So we'll rewrite it as neem da. All right. So I've modeled that for you guys. Now you guys can go ahead and do the rest of these. So in our third last consonant and second last consonant rules, how do we incorporate consonant fusions into our syncopation rules? That's just how do we treat our consonant fusions? Are they two consonants or are they one consonant sound? And so 17, drop the correct vowel sounds to form our consonant clusters. So again, we're looking for our consonant fusion, which is two consonant sounds. So we have SKW here. And then we got to drop a vowel sound to make it a consonant cluster. So we can't drop our long vowel sounds. We have to drop our short ones. And luckily for us, there's a W sound after it, meaning that we can make a consonant cluster. So I'm just going to rewrite this as NGII dash WIISK, drop that A and bring in that WAA. And Giwi Squaw. All right. So I'll leave the rest of these for you guys to do. And Misayet Nongum, Miigwech Minabasindwe Yeg Aja. Thanks for listening again. Bama P Mage Weba Koaminim. So I'll see you guys either later or soon. Oh, yeah.